you're leading the dream career, and parents are listening to say, yeah, that's what I want my child to do, go to the best of the universities, work for the best, and then comes the curveball.
I never wanted to be a doctor. My mother wanted to be a doctor, but she couldn't because of her own circumstances at that time.
That generation.
So she decided that I will be a doctor. I never decided it for myself.
So important for children to follow their passion and their
Yes.
path, even though they may fail in a venture. Many of them have suddenly woken up one day and said, this is not what I want to do.
You know, why I'm afraid of telling people that I want to change, I want to shift my career. What is wrong in it? Yeah.
You're living your dream.
In my head, I've decided that I want this career, I want to make the cakes, I want to earn something from home only. But I thought I was just lying to other people whenever they used to ask, when are you going back to dentistry? So I used to say, nahi, abhi to, I'm just doing this hobby, I'm making cakes and whatever the pocket money I'm earning. Probably after 2 years, I'm gonna go and open up my big. People will die to be in your shoes. You have studied so much, and you are doing such a wonderful job in a prestigious hospital as well. Why you are leaving everything? My simple answer was I wasn't happy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the special episode of our podcast where we celebrate creativity, resilience, and lifelong learning. Today, we are thrilled to host an extraordinary guest, a guest who has redefined the art of cake design and inspired countless artists and entrepreneurs worldwide. Ms. Megha Quat Ramadan is a globally renowned cake artist, educator, and entrepreneur with over a decade of experience. She is also the only Indian to feature twice on the global scale and on the global cover of Cake Masters magazine, and she has represented India on many prestigious international platforms. Beyond her achievements, she's a passionate educator, inspiring bakers worldwide through her workshops and collaborations. Today, we'll explore her inspiring journey, her innovative approach to creativity, and her vision for the future. Please join me in welcoming the exceptionally talented Miss Megha Quat Ramadan to our podcast. Welcome, Megha. Thank you so much for coming here and spending some time with us and really sharing your very, very interesting life's journey.
I'm trying. Thank you so much for having me.
I was looking at the arc of the career choices that you made, and for some it can be so inspirational. So just take us through this entire transition, and I don't want to let out what you were doing before and what you're doing now. Let the listeners and the viewers discover it. So take us through your transition.
Thank you so much, Geeta, for having me today and giving me an opportunity to talk about my career, my journey. I don't know what I've done. Truly, seriously. Many people think that I'm a fighter, but I call myself a survivor. I was just going with the flow. So to begin with, I was a dentist and I have done a proper education. I've done my BDS from Subhati Dental College. And then I went for the further studies and I went to New York University. From there, I have studied and done my diploma in aesthetic dentistry from NYU College of Dentistry. Then I came back and I joined Fortis Hospital as a resident. So I was practicing there. Then life, it has just thrown a curveball at me. I would like to acknowledge like that.
I mean, you're leading the dream career, and parents are listening to say, yeah, that's what I want my child to do, go to the best of the universities, work for the best, and then comes the curveball.
So, Geeta, to be very honest, this was not my dream. I was living my parents' dream. I never wanted to be a doctor. I never wanted to be a doctor. My mother wanted to be a doctor, but she couldn't because of her own circumstances at that time.
That generation.
So she decided that I will be a doctor. I never decided it for myself. I always had that creative streak in me and I wanted to pursue that career. If you ask me 25 years back when I was in 9th or 10th, maybe more than 25 years, yeah, I wanted to be a jewelry designer.
Wow.
at that time nobody knew what is a jewelry designer, but I wanted to be a jewelry designer because I wanted to work on a very intricate designs. But that is something my parents couldn't understand at that time. So they knew just two three things: whether you can be a doctor, or you can be a lawyer, or an engineer.
Engineer, yeah.
So since I was good in studies, so they all decided that you need to be a doctor because you are good in studies. But nobody asked me at that time. So if you ask me personally, I thought myself doing probably MBA. Trust me, after 10th, I never wanted to take science because we are talking about the career, the learning aspect, and everything. So I told my parents that I want to pursue something else, but they said that no, you have to do science and you have to become a doctor. And I didn't have a choice at that time. I didn't have a say.
How many years back was this?
This
Megha?
is, I was passed out 2001. 12th, I've completed
Okay, so 20,
2001.
22,
So
23 years back.
1999,
Yeah.
I was in 10th, yeah. So 1999, I think I was in 10th. 2000, I was in 11th. So that was the millennials, 25 years almost.
But it's true even today. I'll get back to that later. Carry on.
Yeah. So, but even I thought that, okay, it's not a career. Like, if, parents, sometimes they want to look through their own eyes and they decide some things on your own. I'm not going to blame them because the education I've got is something very few people get. I am blessed to have that education. See, now we are at a certain age wherein I can decide, or I can think that what are the right and what are the wrongs I have done. I wasn't happy. The first failures I have seen was in the school when I was in 11, 12, when I took the science subject because I was not happy with it.
Yeah.
Then I struggled a lot when I was in the college as well because I was not happy with it.
Your heart wasn't in it.
My heart was not in that was the right word to put across like that. I mean, I'm happy you said that. But the point was that I never had a choice. I never thought that there could be an alternative career, or I have never seen and visioned myself doing something else later on. But then, I was in a hospital, I was a resident in Fortis Hospital, I was doing patients, and I thought this is my life. And then I got married, and then I got pregnant, and my pregnancy was a little complicated, so I had to leave the job. So I was on a maternity break. So then when I was on a maternity break, after I gave birth to my daughter, I suffered epilepsy just after the 40 days of my daughter's birth.
It was a complication of, it was a post-pregnancy.
It was not a complication of pregnancy. There was a cyst in my brain.
Oh, okay.
And once your child is small, you're not sleeping properly. So the sleep cycle, it takes a toll on itself, and then your hormones change and everything. It was a combination of everything, but there was a cyst in my brain which got activated during that time. So there was a lot of edema in the brain as well, and that is, in return, it was giving me epileptic seizures.
Okay.
And it was life-threatening. I touched death and I came back.
Oh dear.
And my daughter was just 1.5 months old. But to cut short, I was bedridden. And I was forced to be bedridden because my hands used to tremble at that time. I used to forget what I'm talking. I used to forget the name of my daughter as well at that time. So I'm very fortunate to have a very beautiful family. My husband, my in-laws are very amazing people. They supported me. They took care of me and my daughter at the same time. Both I can say that my daughter was small and I was also like a baby at that time.
Yeah.
So they were taking care of me, both of us. So I was at home. So when I was pregnant, during pregnancy, when I left the job, I used to watch a lot of TV, and there was a channel, TLC.
Yeah,
at that time.
yeah.
So there was a show that used to come during the night times wherein their people are making big cakes.
Oh, it was a competition.
Yeah, it was a competition.
Bake off or something.
Yes,
Yeah. They would be given some time. And,
yes, and they have to create something
big
huge.
ones. Yeah.
And
Wow.
I don't know why I was attracted to that show. I was just glued to that show. I used to watch it every day because every night it used to come. And then dekhne mein wo, and then I was like, okay, chalo. But I never knew at that time that this is something which is attracting me. Probably it's a sign, universe sign. So when we are talking about the transition, I will say that I was not allowed to do dentistry at that time because I was suffering from epilepsy. and I was bedridden. So I thought that my love lies in the kitchen. So I thought, let me do something around it also. So I figured out some, cake courses and all, and I thought, let me join it. And that's how it started. It started as a hobby. I never thought that it's going to become a career. Never, because it was not a career at that time. Nobody knew that there is a career. No, people knew that there are chefs, and then there are home bakers or
And very
homemakers.
male-dominated industry, the
But
chefs.
nobody knew there was a cake designer career as well. Even I didn't know. So how can I choose a career which even I don't know if it exists? So I just started as a hobby. And if you ask me that the transition or what gets in, how I got into it, I would say that there was an innate desire somewhere wherein I wanted to show my, or I wanted to do something with my creative spirit. And this career, it just aligns with my passion, I feel. So that's how I got into it. I mean, it happened gradually. I started baking as a hobby, but after a few years, I thought that this is something I want to do. And I don't want to go back to dentistry.
Mega wonderful to hear this, and I'm so glad you could, make that shift. But even today, a lot of parents. So there is an enlightened lot of parents who say, let the child do whatever he or she wants. They should be good human beings. But then there is another mindset of children as young as 2 plus, 3 plus. They've got their, life set because they are living
Their own life.
aspect through their child. And I always laugh and I say, God is laughing when you're busy making plans.
I know.
I mean, and as human beings do that, but really it's so important for children to follow their passion and their path, even though they may fail in a venture. And I've typically seen in your generation of people, many of them have suddenly woken up one day and said, "This is not what I want to do."
Right.
And they have made these shifts, and today
I
they're
know a lot of people like that.
Yeah,
Because I get messages, trust
Yeah,
me, that
yeah.
we are going through the same thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how I inspire people. I don't know. I never
No, I think
I
you're-
never had a dream or something in my mind wherein I want to inspire somebody. It's just it probably my journey with what they resonate themselves with. Probably they are finding themselves.
Mega, I also watched that show, but I never became a baker. So there is something special there. Maybe it's that grit, or it's that there is a sense of focus that you've taken it from there to there.
Yeah.
So that has to be acknowledged and admired. And research actually shows that majority of the children who are growing today are going to change multiple jobs. And then it comes back to the question that what are we really teaching them?
Right.
And that is where our podcast lifelong learning comes in. And it's a very easy term to say lifelong learning, but really there is so much of thought and hard work behind it.
Right.
I'm sure your parents instilled that in you, so you were able to make the transition. How did you deal with your doubts and fears when you were going through this?
Doubts and fears. I'm being very honest here. I never had a fear of failure because I've seen failures. But yes, there were when I, shifted my career at the age of 30. It was not an easy thing. The biggest doubt or fear you can say was the fear of judgment. People will, I know for that matter, if you ask me, my mother, she was totally against. There was a fear of judgment, what people will say that you are leaving behind an established career. Why you are changing this? People will die to be in your shoes. You have studied so much. You have been selected for a course wherein not everybody is selected and go through that process to get into the NYU as well. You have gone there, you came back, and you are doing such a wonderful job in a prestigious hospital as well. Why you are leaving everything? My simple answer was I wasn't happy. And I didn't realize it. Geeta, I'm not saying that when I was working as a dentist, I wasn't happy then. I didn't realize it.
Yeah.
When I started making the cakes and the kind of, the happiness, when somebody brought a cake from me and that the happiness, the gleam in their eyes I saw that I never saw with the clients. I mean, who gets happy when they do a root canal? Everybody hates their dentist, but nobody hates their cake artist.
No, we love
unless
the
and until I
dentists out
spoil it.
there. We need them too. But then they should be loving the job.
Yeah, so I realize that I am creating experiences for people. At the same time, I'm expressing myself through my art form as well, and I'm creating an experience for somebody else. I am a part of somebody's happiness, and that is something that overcame all the fears and doubts I had. Of course, there was a doubt of financial instability, how I'm gonna, work in such a saturated industry,
Space, very
and-
competitive.
and of course, I mean, I have to learn from the scratch. I'm not coming from this field. I don't have a culinary or a baking
Or a
background.
cordon bleu
I am a
course.
dentist. I'm a doctor. But I would say that dentistry has given me a structure, and that structure helped me in making this career forward because I was disciplined.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was a lot of things which I took with me, and overcoming fears. There was a help of the family as well. Nobody can do anything alone. I mean, it's a lie if somebody will say that I'm a tigress. I do everything. No, if I won't have the help of my husband and my in-laws, because I was living in that
joint
house. That
family.
is my family. And of course, I think my little daughter also has played a very important role.
Yeah.
I mean, I started making the cakes only with the purpose wherein I want to make her birthday cake every year.
Okay.
That's it.
Yeah.
This was the goal. I never thought that it will become a career and I'll thrive in this career.
We'll come to the discipline part later because that is a lifelong skill.
Yes.
Which really makes you succeed.
Yes.
But going back to fear, Megha, the brain has just one job, to survive.
Yeah.
And it's fear which sort of keeps you there. And it's very easy for us to say, overcome your fears.
Yeah.
But to the listeners out there, it's a living, potent thing. The fear of being judged, the fear of
Yes.
failure.
Yeah.
And for a middle class, demographic, financial stability.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what would you tell people out there? Because they'll say, yeah, it happened to her, she's successful. But as a person who's maybe in the 30s, how do I take that jump? How did you really overcome the fear, even though you had it? One was, of course, the support of your family.
Yeah.
What else?
Uh,
The person that you are.
as I said, I'm not a fighter. I'm a survivor. I truly believed in my vision. The only thing that kept me going was the happiness this particular career was giving me. I was not sure about how much money I'm gonna earn. Trust me on that. It was because when I started, there wasn't any safety net around me. There was financial instability because I had to prove also now myself. When there are a lot of people who are telling you that why you are doing this career shift, that is a push itself, I feel. And that is something which has kept me going, that no, I have to prove myself. And I will make a livelihood from this particular career as well. I can actually earn something by selling cakes. I wasn't sure in my head, but I was just telling it to myself every day that I have to do it.
No, but you said a very important thing because money can't be the primary objective.
Yeah.
Then you lost it.
Yeah.
There has to be that passion or that love, and then money becomes, or success becomes, a byproduct. If you love what you do.
Exactly. This is my mantra. Love what you do and do what you love.
Yeah.
You need to wake up every day loving your job. You can't be like, I'm dragging myself to go to the job. You're not happy, because I have seen that life also.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it then, again I'm saying. I
Yeah.
realized it later on that how much happiness this particular thing is giving me, because I already had that creative streak. So the happiness, the innate happiness and the innate satisfaction this particular thing was giving me, that was my driving force. And of course there were like lot of things also. I have there was a lot of things I've learned, how to market myself. I understood the business of this particular thing also. Of course it was new for me. I have adapted a lot of things. I learned a lot of things to thrive in this particular business. So it was a combination of lot of factors, but the most important I would say is that I believed in my vision.
And I think what's also important is make her the person that you are. So, it's great to follow your dreams, great to have passion, but then from one successful career to another. So there is something innate in you which I wanted to explore, because you were talking about how being a dentist gave you a particular skill set,
Yeah.
and then there's also something that you brought to your baking business, to your cake
Yes.
making business, which also made it into a success. So would you like to share that the secret sauce? It may work for you, it may
Yeah.
not work for others, but it's inspirational still.
Yeah. If you ask me, I'm not a baker. I don't call myself a baker. Earlier, when it was a very vague term, and I used to, when you want to introduce yourself, and earlier, I'm talking about 10 years back, it's been 10 years. I'm 41 now. At the age of 30, I shifted in this career. I am a cake designer. I'm an artist, I'm doing edible art. Whatever I'm doing, it's an art form, but in a edible form. So what it needs is handwork, the precision. So as I said, the dentistry gave me the structure. Dentistry also gave me the precision, the attention to detail, because when you are a dentist, you're working in somebody's mouth. One needle here and there can make a lot of difference, right? So you need to be very calm also. There was, and a lot of my friends, they say that why you are always calm under the pressure. I think that is also
Yeah.
something a lot of people have told me, that when there is a crisis, you'll always find me very calm. My focus is always in in sorting out things. So dentistry, because my handwork was already strong, the wrist movement,
And
the
you can
finger
handle those
movements.
fine instruments, yeah.
And when we
Little
Geeta, when we are
decor-
working as a dentist in somebody's mouth, we can't even miss out a single cavity. I don't miss out a single flaw in my cake also. So
Yeah.
I had that
Perfect
attention to detail.
detail,
I,
yeah.
I had an eye for that already, I guess. And dentistry helped me in developing that. So I think that skill, handwork,
Focus.
the focus probably that dentistry has given me, creativity I already had, and I mixed it together to help that the amalgamation of all these things that has helped me in this particular career of a cake designer, I feel.
So, Megha, one thing is very well established. You're a very successful designer of cakes, or a cake designer. But I'm sure the journey wasn't that easy to begin with. You must have faced some
Yeah.
setbacks, some challenges. Can you just go back in time and just, take the listeners and the viewers through the initial times when you really began? What all did you face, really, in terms of challenges?
As I said, I wasn't afraid of the failures. I have experienced failures, but there was definitely a fear of unknown. The biggest challenge I would say is that I was coming from a very different, I never had the skill set. I'm coming from a very different career path altogether. I had to acquire the skills. I had to adapt myself to the new changes, and something wherein I can create or build a credibility in the market for myself. Because, when you are a dentist, and if you have a dental clinic, or probably you are a part of some very good institute or a very renowned hospital, I could say, so the patients are coming very organically to you. But here, you don't have a cafe.
Yeah.
You don't have anything else. And at that time, when I started 10 years back, social media was not that evident also. I am coming from the age of Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, so initially, what I realized, because I was thinking that this is a win-win situation for me, wherein I can be home, take care of my small daughter till the time I'm on anti-epileptic drugs. I cannot go out and do something. So this was that ways it was aligning with the creative path which I have taken. It was aligning with my dream, and my dream was to fulfill the passion of creativity I had in me. So everything was falling into space. I wasn't thinking that I'm going to earn or not, but eventually money came. When people, I used to hide from people that I'm making cakes. In my head, I've decided that I want this career. I want to make the cakes. I want to earn something from home only. But I thought I was just lying to other people whenever they used to ask, when are you going back to dentistry? So I used to say, nahi, abhi to, I'm just doing this hobby. I'm making cakes and whatever the pocket money I'm earning. Probably after 2 years, I'll I'm gonna go and open up my big dental clinic. I was not lying to them. I was lying to myself, I guess.
Yeah.
So the as I said, the fear of judgment that I have faced. So that was also.
Those
But
are
then when I
challenges.
decided that, what am I getting? Why I'm afraid of telling people that I want to change. I want to shift my career. What is wrong in it? And when I started telling them, trust me, trust me, forget about the family or anybody else. The doctor fraternity, my friends, they were the one who supported me the most. They were the one who gave me the cake orders. They were my starting clients.
They must be envious of you to follow
They
your
were like,
dreams.
wow, you're doing something, wherein which is very creative, you're following your passion. We couldn't do that. We are in that
Exactly.
loop. And we are
Yeah.
just waking up every day, going to the clinic, coming back. We are in a loop. You have tried to break that loop and you came out of that mold which has been created for us. So they were happy. And the happiness which I have seen on their faces, because probably that made me realize that I'm doing something which they couldn't do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're living your dream.
I was living my dream. I realized it later on. Now I can, if you ask
Yeah.
me 10 years back, looking at my journey of 10 years, yes, I lived my dream.
Yeah.
Yes, there are no regrets, zero regrets. Even now, I don't even regret being a dentist. I would
Yeah,
have
it's your
started,
journey.
I would have started saying that I never wanted to be a doctor, but I don't regret being a doctor. I don't use the doctor name. I mean, if I'm in a hospital, if I want to take a discount or something, तब मेरा doctor निकल जाता है. But anyway, but I don't regret being a
Every
doctor. That
experience
has
really
made me the
teaches you.
person I am.
So, and in today's day and time, Megha, there's a lot about personalized learning and, being self-taught. And you
Yeah.
did that a
Yeah.
decade back.
Yeah.
So, do you think for this generation of young learners, in following their passion, they don't need to they don't need to go through something which is very institutionalized. They can also be a little self-taught.
I would say that there are alternative career choices.
Yeah.
What I am doing is not a very conventional path, right? It happened by chance. I'm saying it happened by chance for me. But right now, I'm in a position wherein I can actually tell people that, okay, education is important. Take your. There are a lot of 14, 15-year-old who follows me. And they send me messages also. I'm being very honest here.
They are the confused
They are the confused
teenagers.
people, but they want, because they think that it's a very, these days now, Geeta, the problem is that people, they measure the success by looking at your social media profiles. But for me, the measure of my success is how satisfied I am from inside, not how much money I'm earning, how satisfied I am. Trust me on that. The day the young generation realize this whole factor, that your success is measured by how satisfied you are with yourself, they will thrive in whatever field they are doing. Love what you are doing. So I always tell these 14, 15-year-olds that don't be me, be yourself. And focus on studies. These are unconventional career path. You can actually do these things, but focus on the study first, because right now the age you are in, there is an age for everything, and I
No, but
strongly believe in
because
education.
this generation, because of this influx of social media, is very outward looking.
Yeah,
And it's a challenge to make them more inward looking.
yeah,
We didn't have that option. So you're right. It's your Instagram feed which really tells them the measure of success,
Yeah.
and not really those other intrinsic things which really cannot be measured. It's something that you experience and feel.
Yeah.
So
They don't
I'm so glad
understand.
you advise and
Yeah.
tell the young people this. That's so important. And I think what also really is needed as a lifelong skill is resilience.
yeah,
So you've gone through a career path of being a dentist, and then you've also now you're a decorator of cakes or a cake decorator. Resilience. What part do you think that played in your sustaining both the careers at certain points of your life?
I think resilience, that came from my that belief I had in my dream, and I never take the setbacks as an obstacle. I have taken them as an opportunity to grow. When you the resilience can come from a lot of things, I believe. That take the rest whenever it is needed, lean back to the family also, adapt to new things. Don't take the failures as the setbacks, take it as an opportunity to grow. And if you face the fears, whatever the fears you have in your career or in your personal front, if you take those fears head on, trust me, that is when the progress happens. That's when the growth happens in your, whether in the career or whether in the personal front as well. So resilience comes from a lot of factors, but you have to believe in yourself.
But today's generation, we are struggling. I'll tell you why. Our parents let us be.
Yeah.
And that's
yeah.
how we learned resilience or even conflict resolution. But today, resilience has to be taught as something very intentional rather than it being a part of a life experience. So
Yeah.
that's one of the struggles we face as
Yeah.
educators.
I think everybody needs to focus on the journey, not on the destination.
Yeah.
I focus on progress, not perfection.
Yeah.
I focus on progress, and
I think
that
that's
is
a
something
beautiful-
wherein you live.
I think that's a beautiful takeaway. Focus on progress,
Not
not
perfection.
perfection.
Yeah.
And another thing that my husband says is that don't look at the goal there. It looks far away. Just go one step,
Step by
at a
step.
time, and suddenly you'll see you've reached your destination.
I can confidently say this line is why I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Because I never thought that this is going to be a career.
Yeah.
I was enjoying the process.
Yeah.
So when I look back, the 10 years of the journey I have taken, I can confidently say that don't focus on the goals. Enjoy the process, enjoy the journey. You will thrive more. So, because this has personally happened with me, because when I started, it was not the goal to earn money, to make it a career. I was just enjoying the process. And probably that has helped in
So
my
where are you
case.
in your life at this point of time with this particular career?
So,
So how flourishing is your business?
there are many cake artists, there are many home bakers, and
Yeah.
trust me, after lockdown, there are many. Hundreds of people have started making banana breads, and from there now there are established home bakers. So when I started, I was one of the few in Delhi who were giving the creative cake designer cakes to the clients. And I was enjoying the process. And as and when the competition has increased, of course, the demand has also increased. We are living in a
Yeah.
social media world,
Yeah.
wherein even if we are doing a party, we want to show to the world that we are having a good cake as well.
Mummy ka cake will not work.
Mummy ka cake will not work, thankfully. Mummy ka cake we enjoy at home, but I want people to order the creative cake so that we'll also make money. But
It becomes a showpiece.
yes, it is a showpiece. It is a showpiece wherein people wants to show off. And kids are very happy with it. Like kids, it's like their dream come true. They have all those little cartoon characters which they live around with, and they want, if they see those cartoon characters getting coming alive on the cakes, they are the happiest.
It's artistry, really.
It is artistry.
Whether you're taking a picture,
Yeah.
or you're painting a picture, or
Yeah.
you're making a sculpture, or you composing a music piece, it's as
Yeah.
artistic as they come.
But there is a demand. There is definitely a demand. I am not going to lie. Of course, I was earning money in this particular field. I have made money. That is also the reason I could have sustained so long, and I haven't gone
Yeah.
back to dentistry.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have run long time back if I couldn't have sustained in this business, or wouldn't have made the money I had. So I have taken a lot of orders. I have taken big orders, big corporate orders, big cakes, wedding cakes, birthday cakes, everything. I've dusted everything. But then there were some health, problems, struggles. I can say the occupational hazard. I have a very major slip disc. So now my back just gives up. So I can't take regular day-to-day orders because I can't bend too much. So what I've done is that, because orders, they come with the time, there's a timeline.
There's a deadline.
You have to, there's a deadline. You have to follow that timeline to give the orders, and there is somebody waiting on the door for their cake. And whether you have a backache or not, you have to work. So from the last 3-4 years, I have completely shifted. Now I'm an educator. I teach cake decoration.
Another pivot, huh?
Exactly. I mean, I would say this is my curve. This is my career curve.
Oh, so now you're teaching people.
Yeah, because I think I was doing good cakes.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
there was a demand that the people wanted to come and they learn from me.
Okay.
Because Geeta, there are diploma schools wherein they are teaching how to be a pastry chef, but still there are no diplomas or any particular courses in India wherein they are teaching you how to be a cake designer. It's a skill. It's an art form. So there are standalone tutors like me who are teaching. I have also learned from somebody. In fact, I have learned from many people. There were many mentors, whether the international artist, Indian artist, online, YouTube, everything was my guide. But now, in our career now, not everything can be learned through online because it's a hands-on classes makes all the difference in getting those skills right for the students. So I started having a lot of demands for the classes that I started giving classes. And now I'm enjoying being an educator. I thought, let's just leave the orders. Let's just not follow the timelines. I'm now, though, after talking since so long, you must have known that I just do whatever I feel like doing, and I want to just I just follow my heart. Whatever is coming, I just follow my heart. I don't follow the path what other people are doing. So
So I think
demand
I think this is a very good advice. Follow your heart, and also I think you, even in your career as a artist, cake decoration, you kept learning and kept growing.
Oh, yeah.
So one could be your physical classes, but YouTube of course is out there and all of that. So one should never stop growing or stagnate in a career.
Yes.
So now you moved on to this another vertical, which is being an educator.
Yeah.
So what are your students like, and what are some of the things that they really want to learn, and what are some of the struggles that they face, without taking names, of course?
Of course, I mean, most of my students, I won't lie, most of my students are females,
Okay.
housewives.
Okay.
Because after their kids have grown, there are young kids also. There's a big lot of young kids also who wants this as a career. They're very clear. I mean, when I look at this younger generation, when I was 14, 15, or probably 16, 18, I wasn't even sure what I want to do. I
Some
was
of them
struggling
are.
with my parents, like what I want to do, what they want me to do. But these days, the kids are very clear. Very clear what they
Not
want.
all of them.
Not
Megha.
all of them, yeah, of course.
Yeah, that's why they
Let's-
post questions on your Instagram.
But
yeah.
they have probably the exposure is more.
Yeah.
If I'll compare with our times, we had a very few resources which we can rely on. These days, kids have lot of resources wherein they can get information about everything. So if they think that they can, have this career, they decide on their own. But then there is a big segment of females who are housewives who who are educated also. Education has nothing to do with this particular line, I'm telling you. I am coming from a very different educational background. It is about the artistry and whatever the skill set you can
Creativity,
acquire.
yeah.
So there are a lot of housewives who come to me and they say that we want to sell cakes from home. We want our lives to be, they feel very validated.
Yeah.
Trust me, it's the validation they are looking for. They think very useless, that we are very useless. I always tell these females that being a housewife is not a easy job. Trust me, it's not an easy
It's
job.
a very demanding job.
It's a very demanding job. It takes a mental toll. It takes everything out of you. It drains the soul out of you, I feel. Because you are handling a lot of other people as well. Hats off to the teachers who handle a lot of kids. I can't handle one kid at home. So I always tell housewives that you have done the biggest job already. The females who are handling the house or who are handling the career, both at the same time, hats off to them. But at least the ones who are working, they have a timeline. A housewife doesn't have a timeline. So you already have that patience and resilience. So you can actually take out time to make the cakes also.
Yeah.
If you can handle the whole tantrums of your house, you can actually handle the clients also.
And
So
make
the
a cake.
innate ability is already there in you. So that's what I tell all these females, that you can thrive if you focus. Don't shift your focus. And again, focus on the progress, not on the perfection. So
And one step at a time.
one step at a time, yes. So yeah.
So, Megha, it was very interesting what you said. You are in a career. and you have followed a career which didn't even exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there have been research and a lot of studies done. I remember one India Today one and an Outlook one which said that 70% of the jobs have not even been invented yet. And we are talking about, say, World 2040 or World 2050. And then came back that question of, what are we teaching children today? So, what is your take on really what is education when we are preparing for this very unpredictable future for jobs that have not even been created? What are we really teaching our children?
You know, Gita, I think our parents have prepared us for the world which don't exist now,
Yeah.
right? But they were not wrong. They were right on their part. The world is evolving, so are we. The world is changing. How can you expect a person to have a social media content creating career when the social media didn't exist at that time? Same ways, we have grown up looking at the bakery cakes. How can somebody imagine that there will be a time when there will be an Eiffel Tower on the cake as well, which is edible, where there will be a rose which is edible, which is looking like a real rose, but it is edible. It's not the real rose. So we all have evolved, and so are the careers. Everything lies in embracing the change around us. But that doesn't mean that we don't need education. Education plays a very important role. Education makes you the person you are. So I think I started mentioning, but somehow it got lost. I was talking about there were many 14 and 15-year-old kids who message me that they want to do this career, they want to follow this. They are not. I always tell them that first complete your studies.
Formal education.
Formal education is so important. And okay, when I say that kids these days, they know what to do, there are resources available, but sometimes too much of information is also a
Yeah.
curse. Now they think that we are so educated on our own that we don't need a formal education. They don't want to go for a formal college. Let's just do, because unconventional careers are very hit these days.
Yeah, the
They want to
flavor.
be a YouTuber. They want to be a content creator. They don't understand that not everybody is Ranveer Alabadi. Not everybody can reach there. Not everybody can be a very successful cake artist. What they see is the glorious pictures on social media. What they don't understand that there's a lot of hard work that has
Struggle.
gone into it. There were sleepless nights. I have studied because it was a new career. I've studied a lot about this because a lot. I mean, I can't even imagine I have studied how much I have studied the science behind baking, how much I kept on updating myself.
Yeah,
I
lifelong
kept
learner.
on evolving as an artist, and that has helped me evolving as a person as well. I don't regret being a dentist because that's what made me the personality I am. So I strongly believe, and that's what I wanted to give. If at all, if whatever I'm saying makes a difference, I want people to understand that formal education is very important. Don't miss out on the steps, because if you miss out on the steps and you jump, so that years are not
gaps.
going to come back again, and then you feel like because college is not about studies, it is about networking also.
Yeah.
It is not about, that is the difference between an online learning and a real college experience. Harvard College is famous for its experience. MBA is everywhere. The books are same. It's the
Yeah.
experience you create.
And that's also true with formal schooling.
Yeah.
One is, of course, you're learning the letter and you're learning whatever, but human beings essentially are social beings.
Yes.
And it goes back right to, if I go into anthropology where we would sit around the hearth and we would move in tribes. So for a child who comes into school and gets into the formal system, there are so many very, very, nascent and which are not very obvious skills that a learner picks up. For example, negotiation and collaboration.
Yeah.
Ultimately, we all work within a network. What you call
Yes.
networking.
Yeah.
So formal education, when you're in school in a group of 15, 20 people, as a learner, you learn all of that. You learn decision making, problem solving, creativity, all of that. So yes, I totally agree with you. Formal education is very important, and if these skills are in place, which takes me back to what we talk about in the podcast, lifelong learning skills.
Yes.
They're going to help you, and you can take on any career which, like I said, doesn't even exist at the
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
I remember my own daughter, in 2006 when she was in 6th and 7th, smartphones had just made entrance, but it was not like, it had not blown this big.
Yeah.
And the career that she's doing today, digital marketing and brand advertising and all that through social media, didn't even exist.
Yeah.
So really, you do wonder what is it that is making her a success today. One is, of course, always learning,
Yeah.
and curiosity.
Oh, yeah.
So how do you see yourself now? Okay, so now you're at this juncture. How do you see yourself evolving as a lifelong learner?
As a lifelong learner,
Yeah, let's look at your future.
I would say that never stop being curious.
Yeah.
It's not about acquiring skills, it's about evolving as a person. I always tell people that never stop being curious. I am an Enthu Cutlet. I want to know about everything. I want to study about everything. When I shifted, that also, my education has played a very important role in me being a reader, a curious person. I'm a very curious person. I always tell my students also that why don't you find reasons behind what you're doing? There is a
Yeah.
reason behind everything. Try to find that. And if you have that curious mind that you want to try to find the reasons, you are a problem solving person yourself. You can actually adjust to a lot of things also. Sometimes I'm also surprised at my own self, like the way I adapt to new things. I'm not adapting. I'm just curious. I want
No,
to
I
know
so I
everything.
think that's very important. Be curious.
Be
Never
curious.
stop
It's-
learning. Adaptable.
Oh,
I
being
think that
adaptive
is so
is very
important
important.
today, and COVID has taught us.
Yeah.
We all had to
Yeah.
adapt, and some people really succeeded,
Yeah.
some didn't. So that's very important.
Yeah.
And you're here now as an educator, and you've been there, done that series of. So anything which is still a dream, which is still left, and is there some dream project you still have in your mind, or some vision? I mean, what do the next 10 years look like for Miss Megha?
I don't have big dreams. Very honestly, I don't have big dreams. I want my daughter to be proud of myself. That's it. That is the dream I have. I'm being very honest.
Yeah.
I want her to be very proud of me, that this is my mother. This is what she has done. I've realized in 3-4 years only, when people have started coming and they started telling me that, oh, we look up to you. You are my inspiration. Then, that thing, that actually, I started thinking that I could be an inspiration for somebody as well. But if there is something I want to see myself doing in the future, is taking my this educational platform on a global scale. I see myself mentoring people. I have started enjoying being an educator a lot.
Tell me about it.
Because I talk a lot. So I think that this is a way wherein my skills are there, my creativity is there, and I'm talking also. And of course, there is one thing. My father was a writer. Just came up into my mind. My father was a writer. From the last 3-4 years, I've been thinking of writing a book on cake education,
Yeah.
cake decorating.
Yeah.
I want to write a book. I don't know when, how, where. It needs a lot of time, and I know hard work also. But time, I think. I need to have that timeline. So I think I see myself doing it. When it is coming, I don't know, but this is something that I want to do. I want to have a book. I definitely
Fantastic.
see
And
myself.
Megha, when somebody looks at your career or looks at you, so what's the legacy that you want to leave behind as the person that you are, with all these successes and all these life experiences?
Geeta, I don't know if I want to leave a legacy or not. I'm just enjoying my life. Even if I want to leave something behind, I want people to remember me as a very creative person who followed her dreams.
Yeah.
Trust me, if it depends on everyone, like to each their own, whatever they want to. Somebody can take back as a courage from my story. Somebody can take back inspiration. Somebody can look for inspiration, creativity. So whatever people want to take back from my journey, that would be my legacy, and it will be different from for every other person. It will be different for everyone. But for me, I want them to remember one thing, that I have enjoyed what I've
Yeah,
done,
that's
what I've
important.
been doing. And there is no set age, circumstances, or anything to change the career path. You are doing something right in your life if your career path is aligning with your dreams and your passion. Take that back
And
from
you're
my
happy.
journey. And happiness. People don't understand. I keep on telling everybody that, happiness is the goal. Happiness should be the goal. Satisfaction should be the happiness, not the money. Money will come if you are happy.
It's the interpretation of happiness, Megha, which I think differs and which then causes issues. For you,
Yeah.
happiness may be 1 hour with your daughter.
Yeah.
For me, happiness would be maybe curled up with a book. So I
Yeah.
think what we want our viewers and listeners to really do a little deep dig in and say, what does happiness mean to you? Because essentially, at the
Find
core,
your
we
own
are human
happiness.
beings who thrive on love. So I
Yes.
think happiness is that, but you've got to do some introspection.
Absolutely.
And one last question I wanted to ask you. Now you're a parent. How old is your daughter?
My daughter is 12.
Okay. So, what are some of the things you're facing as a career parent? Because these days, it's families with 1 or 2 children.
Yeah.
And then you also have the mother working and the father
Yes.
working.
Yes.
So, now I want you to give me a little perspective as a parent of a to-be teenager. The highs and the lows.
I am not a helicopter mother.
Fantastic.
My daughter and her friends think that I'm the coolest mother. But trust me, there's a constant guilt. Guilt is always there that I'm not giving enough time to her. But I want her to just. She's a different individual. Her nature is absolutely different from me. She's more on Papa, I guess. She's Entu Cutlet. She has a creative streak like me, but her personality is her own. She's her own, like she's like nobody. And
That's
I
so
want her to take
important.
whatever
Yeah.
she wants to take, but I want her to be well educated. That is my goal. I don't see, and I'm not gonna push her to become a first person in the class, like first aana hai, second aana hai. I never push her. I want her to learn and know whatever has been taught. She needs to know and learn whatever has been taught in the school, in the home, and I want her to be a kind person. मेरी बहुत बड़े dreams नहीं है अपनी बेटी को
No, I think
लेके.
that's one thing which you said was very true, and I hope parents find a life lesson in that. Let the child grow and be, which doesn't mean the
Yeah.
child becomes a weed. You still have to,
Yeah.
structure and be a role model and all of that.
Yeah.
But really, what Khalil Gibran said that they are just arrows and we are bows, and
Oh, yeah.
they don't belong to us. They belong to a different world, and I also experienced that with my daughter.
Yeah.
So great, Mega, wonderful talking to you.
Same
And
here.
what a roller coaster it has been today. From being a dentist to a decorator of cakes to being an educator, and then talking to you about parenthood. Thank you so much for taking time
Thank
out
you
and
so
sharing
much.
such wonderful life lessons. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Geeta. I had a wonderful time here. I really loved being here. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you so much.
Thank you.